Hey guys, it's Goblin and I'm back with another video. This one is going to be a small talk about human proportions and relativity of size, along with some time lapses of me sketching. This is the first 5 minutes of the full tutorial, which is available over on Patreon. I will put a link in the description below. So I've got some purposefully loose sketches of a male and a female body. And first of all, I want to cover how we go about looking at these proportions and measuring them. Now, one thing you could do is go and say, okay, the proportion of this head is maybe around 8 inches. Maybe the head's 8 inches tall. And then you can measure the rest of the body and say, okay, maybe this is about 10 inches tall. And learn all these different numbers and relate them to each other and measure it very technically. But that wouldn't really be helpful for the way that we want to do this. We need something a bit simpler. You've probably heard of figures being measured in head heights. So what we can do is grab the head, drag it out to the side, and then duplicate it so we've got a stack to see how tall this body is. So this guy here is 7 heads tall, or 7 and a little bit at the bottom. If we scoot over, I can show you an example with the lady too. And if I put my markers back on, you can see she is around 7.5 heads tall. So technically, in proportion, she is larger than he is in my very rough sketch. But if we look at them stood next to each other, you can see that overall, he is taller. And that is because, if I drag the head over, her head is smaller because male heads are a lot larger. And then, due to us measuring in relativity, that means that all of these sort of stack, and then because we've got the smaller heads here stacking, she is technically more heads tall, but she is shorter compared to him, where his head is larger. So you can see we've got relativity going on. For example, one thing I'm going to get to in a minute with some of the relativity is his head is this size and his pelvis should be about the same height. So we've got relativity of the sizes going on there, but we've also got that as not a complete standard between different figures. So the height of his head relative to hers is a slightly different height because we have that difference in the sexes and the builds of their bodies. So I want you to understand as we go forward, even though we're measuring this in heads, you will have differences between the characters. So the relativity of the head to body measurement may stay as one thing for your male characters and one thing for your female characters. And it could be completely different if you've got anything that is completely out of whack with just these two sort of basic things. If you want to go into monsters and making the heads either larger or smaller, or making a character look more animalistic, which again I'll get into later, because humans have got a bigger head to body ratio to accommodate the big brain, to the point where it can cause more issues with giving birth, whereas animals will have a smaller head to body ratio, along with varying proportions of other parts of the body that you might have if you want a character that is reminiscent of a certain animal. So basically, this head may equal the rest of your measurements over here, but this head probably will not equal the measurements for another character. And the inverse also, so her head measurement may equal to the rest of her measurements. You can derive the rest of her measurements from her head measurement, but you will not be able to derive his measurements from her head measurement unless you are keeping everybody's head the same height. And this is something you can apply across your characters. Maybe if you're doing a more simplified style, that might be applicable. So if everyone is a cute little chibi, like so, which I'm not very good at drawing, if everyone's a cute little chibi and you're not going to go down to this sort of level of anatomical detail to separate your characters, unless obviously, like I mentioned, they're a bit more extreme in the design, or you're trying to invoke an animal that has a certain variation in proportions that you can carry over. I just want to make it very clear from the start that this is going to be per figure that I'm measuring. If you want to standardize and simplify things, this won't apply, but this is the base of how we're going to start with our measurements. These are my loose sketches. I am going to go ahead and refine these as I go along with the tutorial. The 7.5 heads tall, or around about there, is something that is sort of around realism, but maybe a little bit exaggerated. There's obviously variations in people. We're just going to stick with something as a standard so you can get a decent sense of where to plot things so that they will look more consistent. And then once you can do this, it should be easier for you to manipulate and move around the body and keep these measurements intact. And there we go. I will put another link up to the full tutorial, which is around 45 minutes at the top and in the description. There is also a lot of these sketches that I'm using as reference that I've already done over at the side. I decided to use one of my characters that I'm trying to change and develop a bit for this tutorial so that I could run with it and have some basis to start doing some costume design. So she is and always has been a character that can shapeshift, so I'm trying to make a few different variations of her. You might have seen me already working on some of her that are more like a Sphinx or a Goblin, somewhere in between where she's got more animal features, but we'll get to those a bit later in this video. I'm going to run through these that I did. But this version of her is just very normal, regular human on purpose so that she contrasts with the Sphinx version. I plan to do some character development through changes in the design, so I have 3 versions of her at the minute. This is just the most normal human looking one. What I plan to do is go ahead and do a more traditional comic layout in pages with this so that hopefully it is a small enough project that I can test that out so I can then apply whatever I learn to longer projects that I have ideas for. Currently, I've only been working on shorter 4-panel comics with Skelby, which I'll put a link to now as well. I post those every few weeks. I won't spoil anything, but I'm hoping that now I've got a loose outline for the writing done, I can work on this at Christmas, maybe kick out a few more bits of concept art before then, and then start going with it next year. Maybe do a little art book or something of the sketches that I've been posting, because I've got them all together anyway, so why not? Someone suggested that doing an art book of sketches would be cool, because I suppose I do post a lot on the Patreon. I usually do and dunk them there after I've done a sheet full. Anyway, these are just mostly pretty basic poses. Some of them I tried to put a bit of movement into. I did a lot more examples in the tutorial, but I tried to keep these pretty simplified and not too difficult to understand and compare to what I was teaching. These are also going to act as bases for me to start doing some costume design on the top, which I will get to later in the video once they are finished. She isn't actually supposed to be an elf either. People have been saying they are reminded of Freron a little bit, but I suppose it is because of the ears. I guess maybe the stylization as well, because I've tried to simplify her a bit. I think I need to bring the body shapes in line a bit more with the face, where I've got a certain set of shapes I was trying to repeat in her features. So I want to carry that through into the body as well. She's a little bit too rounded at the moment maybe, but I think that's mainly because I was using her in a tutorial. I'm going to be covering her up with some of the clothing design in a minute. This is the Goblin design that I was sketching. You can see some of the shapes in this one are different, but she's a bit more elongated. I've got some creepier goblins just down the bottom of the page that you can see. She's a bit of an in-between here. She's supposed to be a palatable version of the goblins, so she is a bit more accepted by people where she's not full goblin mode. So where that design is a bit more awkward, I've had to draw her a lot more because human anatomy is a lot easier, but getting her to have this in-between of looking a bit more like an animal. You can say I had leopards at the side for reference because I wanted her to maybe be a bit more cat-like, or like a ferret where she's kind of bendy in the midsection so that she can twist and look more creepy if I needed to. I'm having to measure out the proportions on her separately to make sure I can keep them consistent, so I've been doing a lot of notes on top of her and drawing her out repeatedly, and then where I've got the loose sketches, they tend to be more flowy and have more motion in them, but they always stray away from the proportions that I need to fit. So I'm having to measure those out sort of with a ruler in a I suppose, a height chart, but not next to anyone right now, and then be able to translate those into these different poses. So you'll see as I go ahead with this one that there's a really nice curve on the back, but I kind of end up destroying that once I keep the proportions consistent, which is very annoying. I'm trying to reconcile those things so that I can still maintain the motion, but not lose the proportions so that she is going to be on model and consistent as much as I can make her. Because while she is going to shapeshift, that needs to only happen in specific circumstances. So it's obvious when she does, and she needs to have some kind of default that she can sit in. But I thought it would be interesting to include some of these because I don't see a lot of characters like this, I don't think. I wrote out a list somewhere that you will see in the sketches at the side of the different animals that she started to remind me of, because I don't entirely want her to indicate that she's any one animal. She's kind of a mix of all sorts. The idea with the goblins is that from the front they look human, but if you see them from the side, they look a bit off. So if you see them in profile, they're very clearly not human, but from the front, if they are staring at you straight on, they do look human. So I wanted to be able to stand up like she is over on the right, but also to be able to move around like an animal, and that gave me some trouble with the proportions, and I think I'm still working on them because they're not quite as they need to be. I plan to cover up some of her silhouette as well so that she can blend in if it's just the overall shape of her, maybe minus the ears, but I can cover up a lot of it with fabric to make her blend in with people. She does look a little bit Peppa Pig from some angles with the nose and the face, and a bit Goblin Shark. Goblin Shark, Peppa Pig, that's what I'm going for. That's what you should be thinking of. The other design that she needs is when she is little, so I decided if she's a shapeshifter, it would maybe be interesting to just have her be a fairy, rather than anything that would make me need to reinvent the wheel, since I want to keep this pretty short, hopefully, as a project. But I'd also like the continuation of her having a human face through from the early version through to the last version where she is a fully grown human, and then the gobbo in between. We've all had that stage in our lives. You know when you're like maybe 12 to 15 and you just stop looking like a normal human person anymore. You do just turn into a gobbo and you're stinky and it's nasty, and everyone else looks like a gobbo and is stinky and nasty too. Be careful who you're mean to in high school. But anyway, I think having these three different versions is enough, and then anything else she's going to warp into will probably be like maybe a worse looking gobbo, but I have a design for those that you've seen anyway. It's just running through these designs and specifically with the proportions, figuring out how and where I can move them and the range of motion that they have, especially where I'm warping them, so that they can still interact with a human world, I suppose. More so for the gobbo, because little baby proportions aren't going to be that difficult. Anyway, here we go with the design stuff for the clothing. Like I say, she needs to be normal human to contrast with the other ones, so I just want it in something that is bland, I suppose. She's bland and boring. The colour schemes are going to be very earthy and neutral because the other ones I plan to make more purple and magical and a bit out of place. When she's a gobbo, she needs to have the, oh, I wonder who the main character is kind of thing going on, where it's very clear that she stands out and is out of place compared to everyone else. I suppose the same needs to apply to the fairy version, but this is just full blending in mode. And I guess these are just shapes that I like in general. There was something about the sleeves on this one that I thought was cool. It's similar to Zelda's sleeves, I think, where they've got the little cuff and then the poof around the sleeve and the buttons at the neckline. There was a few bits I was sketching out in those little value ones, the one I've got at the side for reference that I chose, where I thought about putting an edge around it, but that did not work in the end once I started putting the colours on. But I'm just trying to apply these to all my different poses to see what they will look like in movement and if they read from different angles, okay? So there's going to be different weights of cloth that I want, and they will drape and move in different ways. That's something I want to get into with more sketches, actually, because that's a specific need that I have for this project and others. So I plan to do something on that in the future once I have had more of a fight with it. So on this one, for example, we can see it where we've got that asymmetry with the wrap from this side. So I'm just testing to see if it looks strange or not, or if I can get it to wrap around the form, and if it still shows enough of the figure, I suppose, because I want it to be covered up, but not too covered up. You can still see the top half of it, and then the bottom of her is a bit more covered with the dress. I'm not quite sure by the end of getting these done that they're exactly how I want them. I need to work on the tassels a bit more to see what they should look like. Obviously, I'm trying to keep it as simple as I can, because if I need to draw this repeatedly in a comic, I'm going to get very annoyed very quickly with all those tassels. So something needs to simplify, which I hate to say because I like little details like that. So I need to figure out what sort of line detail I can do to make them fluffy, but not a nightmare to draw 100 times, probably thousands of times. And I did tidy some of these up with some flat colours. I didn't get the whole sheet filled in, but I did draw on all of them for reference. I think going ahead from this, I'm going to finalise some and then try and get into the colours for the other two versions and do some small sheets of those, because they're almost there, but not quite. Not quite. I need to experiment with the colours and make sure there is some kind of motion through them. So I'm starting to get into the colours now, and I want everything to be neutral and kind of earthy, like I say, to contrast with the purples I plan to use on the other ones. So brown hair, green, yellow, nice earthy tones, maybe more autumnal. I quite like the yellow that I used because I brought that into her leggings as well to sort of mirror other places. I like to reuse colours in different spots so that you can triangulate them, I want to say. If you have the same colour in a bunch of different spots, it will make you look around that colour, especially if it's something particularly saturated or bright, which is something I'm doing with the yellow and also that purple. So I'm just going to have a tiny bit of it in the eyes, I think, just to set it off and have like a hangover from the other designs. I tend to think about colours in the same way that I think about the shapes, so I'm trying to repeat the same shape language in different parts of the design, but I'm also doing the same thing with the colours. A lot of the principles are the same. I think, oh yeah, I do actually go and draw triangles over it to be like, I'm triangulating the colours, look. Once I start trying to explain what I'm doing visually in something, I start drawing a lot of lines over the top of things, and it looks like I'm drawing crazy sigils over what I'm doing, but it makes sense. I know it makes sense. I know what I'm doing makes sense. It just looks crazy when I try and explain it. Yeah, and then just finishing these other few off. I did only get 2 of them finished actually, but I might go and apply it to the others to see how they move. I quite like the colour on the tassels too, and I did do some colour adjustment just to bring all of those colours in line with each other. I'm trying to keep it so that it's very local colours, so that it's not too crazy in any direction with warm or cool lighting. Just a nice colour palette that's going to be consistent and will probably take well to colour adjustments like that. And there we go, that is as far as I got. I'm going to continue with these and keep uploading these sketches to the Patreon as I go. I'll put a link to the full tutorial again now over on the Patreon. Thanks for watching, I hope this helped. Goodbye!